Hey everybody, welcome to GMG Review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000 Codex Adeptus Custodes, kindly sent to me as a complimentary copy by Games Workshop and featuring everybody's favorite golden boys, the Custodes, updated for 10th edition. So if you're here for an in-depth meta-analysis of the rules, the new profiles, and all the changes that are happening in this codex, you are in entirely the wrong place. You are lost, sir, or madame. Please find your way to someone who knows far more about Warhammer than I do. This is once again a new book update, army release for the game. I forget how to play every time I come back to it because the rules seem to be different pretty much non-stop. And this is one of the armies I play, which is convenient. Also doesn't have that many units in it, also convenient. Makes this far easier to review. We have a grand total of, well, first of all, we have our Screaming Faces. This is a 40k codex, that's important. And then total page count's 111, full color, and tells us all about the Warhammer's goldenest, biggest of boys. And this is the data sheet set as well, which is gonna make this way easier to review because I can just look at these and, well, we'll find out if they're misprinted or not. They're probably not, but also the army rules and stuff. This is way easier to look at. I like the fact that it comes with the army rules on top of it so I can see those things. And then all the data sheets too. So what do we got? Well, we've got, of course, the lore and the background of these guys. It hasn't changed. You know who they are. They guard the Golden Throne. Since the Cicatrix Maledictorum has torn the galaxy in half, they're out and about in the galaxy, enacting the Emperor's will. Since Gilliman's return, doing stuff. And the great companies of this band of brothers is out fighting everybody. They're all super uber human, so they make Space Marines look like soft-bellied, slackers, basically, by comparison to themselves. And they've had a couple different releases over the last, I guess it's been like 8 years now, 7 or 8 years since they were first released as like an army on their own, which means the plastics are all nice and modern, and they generally have a great quality of sculpting because you're not hanging on to any legacy stuff. The only real legacy kit is the Witch Seekers and the Prospero Burns, Betrayal Calth Dreadnought, because the Dreadnought that's in here, the Venerable Dreadnought, there's definitely a new Horus Heresy one that's a lot nicer, and this one's the old single pose one with a gun swap. I got some background on the Dread Hosts. So these are the different like companies, and they have like kind of unique personalities, like the Shadow Keepers, the Kill and Shield, the Dread Host, the Solar Watch, and the Emissaries Imperatus, the Heralds of the Golden Throne. These are the ones that go out and do all the working jobs. Some color stuff for them. I like this Eyes of the Emperor. We get to see one outside his armor, being like a spy. I don't see how, it's kind of like when Batman takes off the Batman costume, he's just Bruce Wayne, and you're like, that's a linebacker. That's an Olympic gymnast. Like, that guy is huge. That guy's a billionaire. Like, I mean, I get that Jeff Bezos paid money to get in real good shape, but that guy is superhuman. That guy must be Batman. I don't feel like they'd be very good at hiding themselves. And then some beautiful paint jobs, of course, from the studio, showing off what you can do with gold, bone, black, all the different colors that get into this army. There was a cool little background story, actually, for one of the last releases for these guys in 9th edition, where they were basically the throne was being infiltrated by a Gene Stealer cult, and so you had this neat little piece of artwork. The Blade Champion got released for that. It was a great little, actually, like storyline. I really enjoyed that. And we got a new model, the Shield Captain with a shield. Yeah, he's a miniature. He kind of looks like the he kind of looks like the Jigglypuff of guards, Praetorian guards. He's just weirdly proportioned inside his armor. I'm not really sure what's going on with him. He looks short, kind of short for a stormtrooper, and also very wide. He's a real brick of a man. He's got real like oldie-timey weightlifter energy. Like he should be like carrying some big black barbells that say 50 on either side of them. But he comes with a helmed option, which I think I actually like significantly more. And he's got a cool like pirate spear. It's the Melta spear. You get new rules for your combat patrol, although I think they're pretty much the same as before. And then of course the paint scheme basics of, hey, we make gold spray paint, so spray on some retributor armor, then throw on some washes, and then do the details, which is the same way I would have done it. The combat patrol is Tristian's Gilded Blades, which gives you the basics of the martial katas. They're basically the same. Every time you're selected to fight, select a kata stance to do. So you can do like the Decatari or the Rendax. and then you get your bespoke little unit things for them. It's a lot of Praetorians for Comp Patrol. I forgot how big Comp Patrol is sometimes, because it's quite a few models. It contains quite a few dudes. The fact that you've got a basic Guardian squad, some Wardens, and an Hours Custodian unit is pretty neat, right? Like the Hours Custodians are, you get 3 in a box. You get a unit of the Praetorians, which looks like they're also 3 now. I think they used to be 5 in a box, plus a Blade Champion, plus 3 Praetorians, or 3 basic guard guys. It's not a lot of models, and yet it is so many models. Yeah, Custodian Wardens 3, Tristians 1, Blade Champion, Custodian Model Guard 3, and then Hours Custodians 2. So they don't actually give you like, yeah, they just give you some frames, which is kind of crazy. And then those frames make what's in the box. Force of the Custodes, so we're into the army rules now. So we're back into Martial Katas. They've made this a lot easier. The army rules just basically pick these 2 stances now. Thank God. The Martial Katas were so hard to keep track of. I was over that when it first began. I would just like do one and then forget for the rest of the game. You just pick one or the other. So it's either Decatari, melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have sustained hits 1, or they have lethal hits. Like, that's it. That's it. That's all it is. Either auto wound or you get an extra bonus attack when you get 6s. I like that. I'm very much into like, just if I roll 6s, I can choose one of these 2 things. It's like a paragraph. Thank God. Get rid of all that convoluted extra crap. And then Talons of the Emperor. So this is the detachments section now of the book. We've got 1, 2, 3 for the Null Maidens, 4 for the Oric Champions. Total sheets to do. So for the Talons of the Emperor, you're going to get a bunch of detachment rules such as Anathema Psychana. So you get the Null Aegis, while Custodes units within 6 of a unit, like basically with the, whatchamacallit, the sisters stuff, the Silent Sisters, they get a 5+ Feel No Pain against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. And then all other Custodes units in your army gain the following ability: Deadly Unity Aura. While Psychana units within 6 of this unit, each time a model in that Psychana unit makes an attack, add +1 to hit. So they get like a bonus, right? The Psychana units get the Aura, and then the other like units with the Psychana units also get another aura themselves. So if you got 2 next to each other, they get +1 to hit, and then they bounce off the ward saves to the custodians around them. So you get some enhancements for them. The first one is the Radiant Mantle for Custodes model only. Each time an attack targets the bearer's unit, if the attacking model is within 12, you're -1 to hit. Which is kind of interesting. The closer you get, like it's the opposite of what it usually is. Usually if you're far away, you get the bonus. This one is if you're close. The closer you get to us, the brighter we are. So you get a bonus, you're a -to hit. Gift of the Terran Artifice. Again, Custodes only. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, you get +1 to wound. Champion of the Imperium. It's Custodes only. The range of the Null Aegis or W units is increased to 9. So you up the aura ranges. And then Aegis Projector, Custodes model only, once per turn. The first time a saving throw has failed for the bearer's unit, change the damage to 0. That one's pretty cool. It's like a personal force field. This is a pretty good mixed detachment, right? Because you're mixing the 2 types of units together, and you're getting benefits for both. Although, like, honestly, +1 hit for Psychana units isn't a huge deal. The melee units are a little bit more punchy, but like otherwise you're talking about bolters and flamers. The flamers don't roll to hit, and then it's just bolters for range attacks. So while that unit's neat, you're kind of just still taking them for the Null Aegis instead. And a 5+ Feel No Pain against mortal wounds is cool. All right, so we got our strats. Hunt is 1 for a CP. In your movement phase at the start, up to 2 Custodes units from your army can be the target, and the effect is until the end of the turn. You can shoot and/or declare a charge if you fall back. You're just better. And then restrictions, you can only select 2 units if one and only one of them is an Anathema Psychana unit and they're both within 6 of each other. So this is, again, it's encouraging you to pair up those 2 types of units. You pick them both and then one falls back with the other. So this is all about tag teaming those 2 unit types. Then Talons interlocked when you're shooting phase. Target up to 2 Custodes infantry units from your army and 1 enemy unit that's an eligible target for those units. Effect until the end of the phase, your units can only target that enemy unit, but each time a model from your unit makes a ranged attack, improve the strength and AP by 1. Very cool for the flamers. You can only select 2 units if you and only one of you is an Anathema Psychana unit, and they're both within 6. So both these are 1 CP and they can affect 2, but you only get to do 2 if it's 1 of each type, right? So if it's 2 Custodes units, you only get to do 1. If it's 2 Psychana units, you only get to do 1, but if they're paired up, it's basically allowing you like a 2-fer. Then Empiric Severance, when your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after you've selected a target, or they've selected a target, and then target 1 Custodes unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more enemy attacks, and 1 Anathema Psychana unit within 6 of that Custodes unit. Until the end of the phase, your unit has a feel no pain of 4+ against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. So you're basically buying back your old 4+ feel no pain you used to have, but this one gives you a 5+ version of it as long as you're pairing your units. And then Emperor's Executioners is 2. Start of the fight phase, up to 2 Custodes units from your army. Effect until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your army, or in one of your units, targets an enemy unit that's below its starting strength, add 1 to the wound roll. And then restrictions, you can only select 2 if one's a Psychana unit, blah, blah, blah. Like, all of them have the same restriction. And then Talon Pincer, when your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move. The target's up to 2 Adeptus Custodes units from your army that are within 9 of each other, and they can make a normal move up to 6 inches. So you get a cool, like push, basically. And it's a kind of like the AOS one where you can do it in response. So after a unit ends a move, you have to be within 9 of them, but you can make it a 6-inch normal move. And it can be back if you want to. And again, you have to pair up units. Shield of Armor, Shield of Honor, sorry. Your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has been selected has selected its targets. And the target's 1 Anathema Psychana infantry unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more attacks and 1 other friendly Custodes unit within 6. And the effect is, until the end of the phase, any attack that targets your Anathema Psychana unit has to target your other Custodes unit, unless it's not eligible. So you can draw the fire to the Custodians away from the Psychana units. So little units of Custodians, being able to do that, very handy for when they get hit by like attacks that'll just wipe them out. So that's kind of the balanced one. And again, it's about taking both types of units and kind of pairing them up inside the army, MSU style. Then we have Shield Host. This one's got Martial Mastery as its big bonus. Once per battle, at the start of the battle round, you can use Martial Mastery. If you do until the start of the next battle round, each time a Custodes model from your army with the Martial Kata ability makes a melee attack, a 5 is a critical hit, and improve the arm penetration of melee weapons with the Martial Kata ability by 1. So you just, once per game, get a really good melee turn. I'm not as big a fan of detachment rules like that because like a persistent thing like Revered Companions is going to affect you for the entire game defensively. And if an army doesn't have psychic attacks, they probably still have mortal wounds and vice versa, right? Like that's an all the time benefit. This one is a once per game you get kind of better at fighting. So I don't love that ability. Then your enhancements from the Hall of Armory. So you get a shield captain model only. You get +1 strength and damage. So that's a kind of makes up for it. Whatchamacallit, ability. Because let's say a shield captain with a Castellan axe, all of a sudden he's going to be in melee, strength 10, damage 4. That's a huge thing. He's still only AP -1, but strength 10, damage 4 is no joke. Your spears would go up to damage 3, right? Your Petherites spear would go up to damage 3. They'd be strength 8 then. And the Sentinel Blade would be strength 7, damage 2. So there's a reason to take that one for sure. And then Castellan's Mark, shield captain only. After both players have deployed their armies and determined who has the first turn, select up to 2 Custodes units from your army, excluding Psychana units, and redeploy all those units. When doing so, any of those units can be placed in strategic reserve, regardless of how many are already there. So that's handy. Not as good as the other one, really, but it's still pretty good. And then Oric Mantle, shield captain or blade champion, add 2 to their wounds. So you just get a big old like chunk of wounds added to them. So 8 wounds now in a shield captain. And he's pretty good because he's got the big old invulnerable save, right, from his a storm shield. And then Panoptispecs. Some control video game names here. Shield captain or blade champion model only, while the bearer is leading a unit, ranged weapons equipped by this model in that unit have the ignore cover ability. So kind of a neat like scanner system. He's got like predator vision, so you can see stuff behind cover and get rid of cover. Now these guys have Arcane Genetic Alchemy, so not in all the detachments, but definitely in this one. You get your 4+ feel no pain against mortal wounds. Any phase just after mortal wounds have been allocated to any unit from your army that's not Psychana model. So basically your Custodes can up themselves to having 4+ feel no pain. It's not all the time. It's not like only 1 on 4. It's not the old Arcane Genetic Alchemy, but it does give you a cool feel no pain. And remember, you're not getting one because you don't have the Psychana units in your army. Then Avenge the Fallen. Start of the fight phase, target a Custodes unit from your army that's not Psychana, that's below starting strength. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attack characteristic of your melee weapons, and if you're below half strength, until the end of the phase, add 2 instead. So Avenge the Fallen is your angry strat for 1 CP, and the more dead you are, the more angry you are. Then we have Unwavering Sentinels. This one is when the fight phase, just after enemy units have selected targets, and the target is a Custodes infantry unit from your army that is within range of an objective marker you control and that was selected as the target of an attack. Until the end of the phase, they're -1 to hit. So you just somehow lock shields or like take cover. Multi-potentiality, I'm not sure how this one works, it's in your movement phase. One Custodes unit from your army that fell back, you can still declare charge and shoot. And these are all 1 CP. 1 CP for Vigilance Eternal. When your movement phase, target 1 Custodes battle line unit from your army that's within range of an objective marker that you control. And the effect is that your objective marker remains under your control even if you move away from it. And then finally, Archaeotech Munitions. It's your shooting phase. 1 Custodes unit from your army, excluding Psycana units that has not been selected to shoot this phase. And you can select either lethal hits or sustained hits 1 until the end of the phase. All your ranged weapons get that. Very cool for your jet bikes with melta-guns or like anything that shoots like a bajillion shots too with lethal hits. It's a very cool ability. That's Shield Host. So we get the Null Maiden Vigil. Creeping Dread is your aura. In the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit that's either a Psyker unit or below its starting strength is within 12 one or more Anathema Psycana models from your army, that enemy unit must take a Battle Shock test. If it's below half strength, it must subtract 1 from the Battle Shock test this phase. So designers notes, this means that all enemy psych units within range of this aura ability and all enemy units within range of this aura ability that have lost 1 or more models must take a Battle Shock test in your opponent's command phase, not just the ones below half strength. And then keywords, if you select this attachment, prosecutors gain battle line, which is cool. Then you get your enhancements, so Raptor's Blade for Psycana units only. Add 1 to the attack, strength, and damage characteristic of the bear's melee weapons. While the bear is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units that are battle shocked, add 2 to it, because the more scared they get, the more powerful you get, which I think is very funny. So all the sister stuff is this one in the back. Oh no, this is the they give you cards for the kill team or the combat patrol, which I think is really cool. That's the Rhino. I couldn't remember if they're mixed in. I think they're mixed in because I think they actually get printed in order when I looked at these before. All the heroes, yeah, there they are. So there's the Knight Centura. And then the rest of the sisters are here. So easier to divide these up. Isn't this great having the cards? Because you can just look at them. So that means because it's Aaliyah, she's the special one. So you can give this to Knight Centura. That means she's gonna have an extra attack, which means like 4 attacks with her melee weapon. It's normally just gonna be, the Great Blade is gonna be strength 5, it's gonna be strength 6, and then it'll be damage 3 minus 2. So taking that to strength, it's +2 to all these things. Strength 7, damage 4 with 5 attacks. She gets kind of scary for a second there. That's a like damage 4 is no joke. I don't care who you're fighting. No one wants to get stabbed with that. That is a horrifying amount of damage. All right, so enhanced Void Sheen Cloak. This one is again, all of these are Psycana only. Each time an attack is allocated to the bearer, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of the attack. If the attack was made by a Psyker or Battle Shock model, change the damage to 1 instead. So that's pretty cool. Makes you way harder to kill. And again, these are low wound count models. You got 4 wounds. So that makes you very durable to certain big bads. And then Oblivion Knight, the Huntress's Eye rather. In your command phase, select an enemy unit within 12 and they must take a Battle Shock test. Again, with your penalties rolling down. And then Oblivion Knight, Anathema Psycana model only. While the bearer is leading a unit, each time that model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. If they are a Psyker, plus 1 to the wound roll as well. Then you've got Desperation's Price. This is your first, again, all your CP, or all your stratagems are worth 1 CP here. This one's when, in any phase, just after an enemy Psyker has either finished using a Psychic ability or is finishing making any Psychic attacks. It targets a Psycana unit with an 18. The enemy Psyker unit must make a leadership test. If the test is passed, the Psyker unit is battle shocked. If the test has failed, they take 3 mortal wounds and it's battle shocked. So you just auto battle shock a Psyker, which I think is amazing because like that is wildly powerful against demon armies and big demons. Because even if they pass the test, they just count as battle shock. They lose all their obsec. There's nothing they can do about it. For 1 CPU, just turn off that ability to control objectives. And if they fail it, they take 3 mortal wounds. Now I think at Witch Hunters, this one's in your shooting phase or fight phase. Target 1 Psycana unit in the army that's not been selected to shoot or fight. And then effect, take either lethal hits or sustained hits 1. But the model's unit can only target Psyker units. So you're just hunting a Psyker. And then Anathema Blade Mastery, it's in the fight phase for your Vigilators. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit roll, and if you're targeting a Psyker, reroll the wound roll instead, because you hate big brains. You get a Psychaff Volley. In your shooting phase, this one's for prosecutors, right, the bolter folks. And it's select 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks until the start of your next turn. While your unit's on the battlefield, the enemy unit's prosecuted. It's a status, weird. While the unit's prosecuted, each time a Psycana model from your army makes an attack against them, the AP goes up by 1. And while a Psyker is battle shocked, while a Psyker or Battle Shock unit is prosecuted each time a model in that unit makes an attack, they're -1 to hit as well. Because you're just like, you're creeping them out too much. And then Purgation Sweep in your shooting phase for a Witch Seekers unit, so the Flamer Ladies, and before they shoot. And the effect is until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of your Torrent weapons. If the weapon targets a Psyker or Battle Shocked unit this phase, add 2 to the attack's characteristic instead. And then we got Psychic Abominations. This is for your shooting phase, just after an enemy has selected its target, in your opponent's shooting phase, sorry. For 1 Psychana target unit that was targeted, and then the effect is by the end of the until the end of the phase, your unit has the stealth ability. And Battle Shocked and Psyker models can only select you as a target if they're within 12. So this one's funny because I don't think it's particularly great. You're really leading into the ladies. Like, you can still take everything, right? But like, you need to have a good core of them to use a lot of this stuff. But being able to just throw out Battle Shock is kind of low-key wildly powerful, especially being able to just auto-do it to a Psyker against certain armies. That's really, really powerful, like with big psychic monsters and greater demons, like a Be'lakor or Grand Clean one, like all that stuff. So there's something here. Is it worth trading up the other effects? I kind of almost low-key think so. I think someone's going to take this detachment and make a really good kind of blue magic deck out of it, right? That just turns off the people's ability to hold objectives. So I'm very interested in this one because a lot of times the sisters were just taken as sort of like backup units to hold objectives and camp them, but this one's kind of neat. And then we've got the Oric Champions. This one's your Terminator army, your big boy army. It has an assemblage of might as its detachment rule. At the start of your command phase, select 1 unit from your opponent's army until the start of your next command phase. Each time a Custodes character model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, you're +1 to wound. He just calls somebody out. And he's like, them, go. And then your enhancements, you get the Blade Imperator. That's for a Custodes model. Each time the bearer's unit ends a charge move, roll for models in engagement range. On a 4+ unit, suffers D3 mortal wounds. And then once per battle, after the bearer's unit ends a charge move, everybody's Battle Shocked within 6. So that's pretty cool. Like, he gets to pick a unit and do some mortal wounds every time, but then once he's just like, get off my objective, you're all Battle Shocked. That could be super handy against swarm armies too, like orcs, you know, big mobs of like Termagants, just things that you need to get like a lot of model count down. And then you get Inspirational Exemplar for Custodes models. The bearer has a leadership characteristic of 5+. Once per battle, at the start of the phase, you can select 1 friendly Custodes unit from your that's Battle Shocked and within 12, and they're no longer Battle Shocked. So you can un-Battle Shock units. You get the Veiled Blade for a Custodes model. Add 2 to the attack characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons. And once per battle, at the start of any command phase, triple the bearer's objective control characteristic until the end of the turn. Martial Philosopher is your next one for a Custodes model only. The bearer's unit is eligible to shoot and or declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Once per battle, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 of the bearer, if the bearer's unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to 6 inches. So I like your remark. The names are very cool. I don't know how good that is, but it's handy. And then your big boy stratagems, again, all 1 CP except for Superhuman Reflexes and Vigil Unending. The first one's Slayer of Champions. It's any phase, and it's when a character unit from your army that has just destroyed the unit is selected. Target one character unit that has destroyed an enemy that you selected at the start of your command phase is the target of your assembly of might. So whoever you pick to be +1 to wound, if your character kills them, you get this. The effect is select 1 enemy unit in the battlefield until the start of your next command phase. Each time an Adeptus Custodes character model from your army makes an attack that targets the enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll. If the addition, the destroyed unit was a character, gain a CP. So if you kill another champion, you gain a CP. And for calling out and killing that model, you get +1 to wound. So as long as you've destroyed the unit that you selected to do. So Superhuman Reserves is the next one. When any phase, just after a warlord from your army has used an ability on its data sheet from an enhancement that says once per battle. So that's going to be someone like Trajan. So for instance, Trajan's once per battle is Moment Shackle, right? So he has his, he can have 12 attacks, so he can have a 2+ invulnerable save, which I think is fantastic. And then that warlord model, until your model can use its once per battle ability 1 additional time this battle, but you can't use this more than once. So you can recharge your once per games for Trajan, which is just like it's just his jam. Like, he could just have a 2+ invulnerable save twice per game, or have 12 attacks twice per game, and he hits like a ton of bricks. So that is not a terrible idea. 12 attacks with his Watcher's Axe is just like it's a dead knight, basically. It's what it is. Because he can also give it +1 to wound. He's like, hey, that knight over there, I want +1 to wound against it. I'm going to wound it on 2s. I'm going to hit it on 2s. I'm going to have 12 attacks. They're damage 3 and -3 to wound. Or -2 to save. Yeah, he's a killing machine. So you want to watch Trajan kill 2 knights. He can probably go do it. Doing 36 wounds to 2 knights. Then we've got the Emperor's Auspice. When your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, and the target's 1 Custodes character unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks, and the effect is until the end of the phase, characters get a 4+ feel no pain. Earning a name, because you get lots of names when you're a Custodes model for whatever reason. In the fight phase, up to 2 Custodes character units from your army that have not been selected to fight, and the effect is until the end of the phase, each time a character model in either your units makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle, you can reroll the hit roll and reroll the wound roll. No big deal. If he doesn't have the 12 attacks, you could maybe kill that knight that way. Vigil Unending in the fight phase. Actually, you could, I don't know, it's because his axe is damage 4. It's only -1 save. You could make some real liquefying characters in this Oric Champions unit. If you want to make some real let's say like a Timmy Magic Gathering deck, you could just take some dudes and jack them up with the Oric Champions detachment. Vigil Unending Story fight phase, 1 Custodes character model from your army that was just destroyed. You can use a stratagem on that unit even though it was destroyed. Don't remove them from play, and they can still make their attacks and then remove from play. So if you died before you attacked, then you get to just pop this for 1 or 2 CPs, and then you fight before you die. And then Shoulder the Mantle. 1 is the end of the movement phase, and the target's an Adeptus Custodes character model from your army that's within 2 horizontally and 5 vertically of a friendly unit that it could lead, as long as it's got the right list of keywords on its data sheet. The effect is that character model attaches the unit to form an attached unit, change the unit's starting strength accordingly, and your character model cannot attach to the unit it's already attached to. So you can pop a character onto a unit if they died. And then I really like this that they've started doing in these books is they put in like non-studio paint job armies, like Ben here's Custodes Army that's kind of like Blood Angel-y, I think is really cool. It's got like a weird Blood Angel kind of champion guy. It's all like kind of Death Company-y for the Talons of the Emperor. I think it's the 10,000. It's very, very cool. It's weird they don't give their last names, but I don't know why they don't do that. Just give them their last names. Data sheets. So we're into these now. I'm just going to go right to points at the end, and then we'll look at the data sheets on these cards because it's just way easier. Hey, look, there's what I was just talking about, where that Oric Champion kills that Great Unclean One. We'll talk about some point values. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into it. You do get your Crusade rules as well, which is very cool. So like your cool endeavors you can do. Basically, you're trying to like do feats. Like the endeavors will give you bonuses. Battle scars, bad things can happen to your unit. Lions, not wolves. You lose the martial kata, like stuff like that. And then your cool agendas, a great tithe where you start getting Psyker units destroyed. You get more XP for your Anathemic Psychana. And your requisitions are things like artifacts and stuff too. We'll also get some points. And a name generator, because hell yeah, we get a name generator. All right, point values. Detachments. So your Talons of the Emperor, the Radiant Mantle is 30 points. The Gift of Terror and Artifice is 15 points. The Champion of the Imperium is 25. The Aegis Projector, that cool Field No Pain is 20. Shield House, the Harmoniers is 25. Castellan's Mark is 30. The Panoptus Vex is only 5, which makes sense. The Arc Mantle is 15. Raptor Blade's 5 in the No Maidens, which makes sense because she's not that strong to begin with. The Enhanced Void Sheen Cloak is 10. Huntress's Eye is 15. Oblivion Knight's 25. And then the Oric Champions get the Blade Imperator for 25. This is the spendy one. Inspirational Exemplar is 10. Veiled Blade is 25. And the Martial Philosopher is 30. You do get the QR code now for going and downloading the app, as well as the updated point values if you need to find them. And then for the rest of the point values, again, you guys can just do your thing. I don't care. I don't care what the point values are. As long as they're all like at least by 5, I think that's fine. I'm not super worried about it. Trajan's gone up to 180 though, which I think is probably fair considering what he is. So let's have a look at some greatest hits on these. Let's start with the actual Custodes models. Like I said, Trajan's still bad Mamma Jamma. He's got his Deep Strike, Feel No Pain 5+ base. And he's a leader. He can lead, what units can he lead? He can lead Custodian Guards and Custodian Wardens, so no Terminator leading or anything like that for him. He's a Captain General. When he's leading a unit, he can ignore any aero modifiers to ballistic skill or weapon skill, and all modifiers to hit roll. And then your Moment Shackles, like I said earlier, 2+ invo or 12 attacks. He's an epic hero. And he's got his Eagle Scream, which is now damage 3. 2 shots, 2+, strength 5, AP 2, and then damage 3. And then his Watcher's Axe is 6 attacks. 2+ strength 10, -2, 3 damage. He is your warlord. If this guy's in your army, he has to be your warlord, because look at that guy. Look at this face. That's why. I'm like Clark Kent. I'm wearing the glasses so you don't know I'm Trajan Valoris. All right, and then we got our shield captain. This is the new guy. He's got tons of different weapon options because you can build them in a bunch of different ways, which is kind of neat. I do like that. Like originally, I think the intention was that the Custodian Guards made this shield captain because you could give him a cape and stuff. And that was fine, but just having like a cool shield guard, and he's completely like compatible too with all the other bits and pieces is cool. His proportions are just weird. I don't know. He's very like tanky, but he's a cool model. To get all the weapon options for him, right? You can give him everything from a Castellan Axe, Guardian Spear, Pyrothite Spear, Sentinel Blade, and then the Axe, Spear, just the shooting attacks. And they're pretty much the same. I didn't notice any differences to before, right? Strength 4 for the guns, damage 2 still, 2 shots. They're all assault. Yeah, everything's assault. Pyrothite Spear is Melta. Strength 5, -4 D6, but it's only 12-inch range. Just a Melta gun. And the Sentinel Blade gun, 2 attacks. They're just the bolters. Yeah, he's got his Master of Stances once per battle. When they are selected to fight, you can use both stances. And then Strategic Mastery, once per battle round, you can select 1 model from your army. You can target that model's unit with a stratagem for 0 CPs and can do so even if you've already targeted them with that different strategy. So this guy would be cool to have around when, if you have multiple shield captains and you use the Oric Champions, like when they die, the one that's still alive can make the other guy fight for free for 2 CPs. If you have a lot of 2 CP things in your army, he's going to be pretty cool. You get the Yowler's Terminator one. Again, I didn't notice any real differences with him, or the Dawn Eagle Jet Bike one either. You guys can see these, so if you notice any differences, that's cool. Blade Champion, still love this guy. Still love his stances, right? He's got his sustained hits from his precision one, devastating wounds. He can lead Guard and Wardens. He has Swift Onslaught, so he can reroll charges. Martial Inspiration, once per battle in the charge phase, you can charge and advance. Valerian, I hope this guy's still good. He has Gnosis. I love this model with his like weird Roy Batty haircut. If anyone knows who Roy Batty is, you better all know who Roy. If you're watching this, you know who Roy Batty is. Otherwise, that memory's gone like Tears in Rain. Yeah, so he's got his bolt. Like he's just got a cool Watcher Spear that's strength 8 as opposed to strength 7, -3 and 2 damage. His Golden Laurels, he gives his unit that he's leading a extra AP on their weapons because he's able to lead Wardens and Guard. And then here at the Lion's Gate, once per battle, after making a hit roll, wound roll, or saving throw, you can change it to an unmodified 6. That is, if it was once per turn, it would be better, but I mean, you can just keep him alive. He's got a base 4+ invul. I should probably look at Valeria. If I'm going to look at him, I might as well dig her out because she's the companion model, or Leia, sorry. He's Valerian. She's basically just a, whatchamacallit, Knight Centura, 5+ invul. Somnus is still devastating wounds, anti-sacred 5+, 3 damage though. Feeling no pain 5, leader, scout 6 inches. So she has scout, which is interesting. And she's got tactical perception. While this model's leading a unit, models in the unit have the fight first ability. Tenacious Spirit, while the model's leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. If that unit's below its starting strength, add 1 to the wound roll as well if it's below. So she gets some of those like sisters, like whatchamacallit, traits kind of baked into her. And I think they're still bought as a pair. Let me double check. Let me double check what's going on here. But they might be individual now. Alaris, Aaliyah, nope, they're separate now. You can take them as just separate models. That's great. Yeah, they're not required. So you can take a Leia and then you can take Valerian, wherever he is, a separate dude. So she's 80 and he's 140. Custodian Guard, kind of just the same. Sentinel Storm, once per battle in your shooting phase, after the shot, it can shoot again, which is kind of neat. And then Standing Still, each time a model, or Standing Vigil, sorry, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll wound rolls a 1. While this unit's within range of an objector marker you control, you can reroll the wound roll instead. And then Presidium Shields give you +1 wound still, and Vexilians give you +1 obsec to the models of the bearer's unit. All right, Wardens, all with their axes and spears. So guns are just still the standard bolt weapons, right? -1, 2 damage, strength 4. Melee weapons, your axes, same as strength 9, -1, 3 damage. Spears are strength 7, -2, 2 damage. The Auxilia works the exact same as on the basic guys. Resolute Will. While a character model is leading this unit, each time an attack targets the unit, the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than the toughness. It's -1 to wound. So it's kind of always wound on 4s, but it might be always kind of wound on 3s if their strength ends up being you know, super high. If their strength ends up being 12, not a lot of strength 12 out there, but it's kind of always wound on 4s if there's a character in the unit. And then Living Fortress. Once per battle, serve any phase, you can have like a Feel No Pain of 4+ all the time. So I think value of Warden's certainly gone up, I think, a bit. Your Custodians, your Alaris, 7 wounds still, 4+ invuls baked in. Ballistus Grenade Launcher is the same. Misericordia is the same. They deep strike. Slayer of Tyrants. Each time model in this unit makes an attack that targets a character, monster, or vehicle. Reroll the wound. Still Night Hunters. And then from Golden Light, once per battle at the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit's not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can move it from the battlefield and place it into Strategic Reserve. So they get to pull off so they can deep strike later on, as opposed to the other way around. And they still get a Vexilia. Virtus Praetors, 12-inch move, toughness 6, 4 wounds. The Salvo Launcher, strength 9, -2, 3 damage. It doesn't look like, not Melta anymore, which is interesting. Just flat 3. So reliable, but not Melta. Then we've got the Interceptor Lance, 7 -2, 2 damage. And you can also have your Hurricane Bolters. And then Turbo Boost, each time this model advances, do not make a roll, it just goes 6, so it can go 18. And then Quicksilver Execution, once per battle at the end of the advance move, you can select 1 or more enemy models, excluding monsters and vehicles that it moved over. On a 2+, they take 2 mortal wounds. So, then roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. So if you got 3 of these in a unit, it's going to be up to 6 mortal wounds on a 2+, which is pretty cool. It's 2 to 3 in the unit. Here he is. I'm just he's a little old still. Your Contemptor Dread. He's toughness 9. He's got 10 wounds. This carries assault cannon, still garbage. 6 attacks, 2+, strength 7, -1 damage. It does devastating wounds though. Multi-melt is melted 2, d6 damage, 2+, strength 9, -4. The close combat, strength 12. There we go. Strength 12, -2, 3 damage. But he's got Unyielding Ancient at the end of any phase without resolving Deadly Demise, and a 2+, set this model back up in the battlefield as close as what was to the unit that destroyed it, not engagement, and it gets d6 wounds back. So he comes back to life the first time he's destroyed, which can be super annoying when you kill this thing and then it comes back with 6 wounds. The Venerable Land Raider with its Godhammer Lascan. I locked into Godhammer Lascan, which I think is a great name. I don't know why they have to give like trademarkable names to all the weapons now to make them different on the sheets. It's not my favorite thing, but when you get a name occasionally like Godhammer, I think that's very cool. I just think of the Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War. Strength 12, -3, d6 +1 damage. It's Deadly Demise d6. It gets Martial Kata, which is super weird. Assault Ramp, each time a unit disembarks from this model after making a normal move, that you can still charge. You can still move, get out, charge with this thing. And when it's damaged, you're -1 to hit. It has 2 last cannons, a heavy bolter, and armored tracks. The armored tracks are 6 axe, strength 8, AP 0, damage 1. So you can really run some folks over with it, and it can hold 6 Custodes infantry. And then you get your Sister's Rhino. It's a Rhino. I'm not going to bother because it's a Rhino. All right, and then we're looking at the Knight Centura. We already went through her. Prosecutors, still just guardsmen in power armor, but with all their cool new abilities. Like they have the Feel No Pain 3+ against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. Period of Execution. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack that targets psychers, it gets precision devastating wounds. And then it's up to basically 4 to 10, because it's a Sister Superior, 3 to 9 prosecutors, and they get their bolt guns. Vigilators, same unit size. They have Deft Parry in melee. They're -1 to hit. They can still get Daughters of the Abyss. Their Great Blades are great. Strength 5, -2, 2 damage. Witch Seekers, they all get cool Flamers that ignore cover and Torrent. Not that things don't ignore cover all the time. Or your eye can make you ignore cover. D6, strength 4, 1 damage. And then they get Sanctified Flames in your shooting phase. After this unit's shot, select an enemy unit hit by 1 or more attacks. They must make a Battle Shock test. So that obviously peels in really well to their own like detachment style. And that's it. You get your cool card for Army Rules. You get cards for the Comp Patrol, which I think is really cool. So it's Ours Custodians, Wardens, and Custodian Guard. The Wardens don't get any special rules. Like they strip out all the special rules, right? So no Deep Strike, nothing fancy. It's just 2 Custodians, 2 Wardens, 3 of these guys. They've all got, I think they're all supposed to be armed with Sentinel Blades and Presidium Shields. So they've all got a bunch of extra wounds. And then you get Tristrain, gotta make it hard for me to say this, with these cool vault swords. But again, they don't mess around with special abilities, so you don't have to worry about them. And that's the book, Custodes. I'm excited about them. This is one of my favorite armies to play because honestly, when it comes to 10th edition Warhammer 40,000, it's like the lightest lift for relearning the entire game with. And I have enough models painted that I can play with almost any side game. So hopefully what I'm gonna get to do, because the Oric Codex is coming out soon. I haven't talked to him a bit because he's been deep in frisbee golf. It's like his favorite thing now. In Magic, but I haven't gotten around to hanging out with Nick in a while. So Nick, if you're watching this, I know you are, at least you're gonna watch the Orc one. Yeah, let's play some games. Let's come down and play your, we'll try this out because we both have fresh codexes and you have a huge Orc army and I have a huge Custodes army. So overall, I mean, it takes it gives you more flavorful ways to play detachments. I like the Hero Hammer version of it. It fits the Custodes thing. Still the cheapest army to play in 40K, I think. So give it a go. And the comp patrol is pretty fresh, so I'm excited about that one as well. I have the models already ready for it, and it's not the old comp patrol. No jet bikes, no nothing. Actually, I don't have Wardens. I don't think I ever painted Wardens, so I can't play that comp patrol. I'll have to find a box of Wardens somewhere. I thought I had a box. No, I don't think I do. Searching. Nope, but I'll give it a go. So anyway, there you go. Cool new book for all those people who like the Custodes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for more GMG reviews next time on MASH. Have a great day.